which allows them to like get around them. And so you should put like if Blitzcrank pulls somebody, you should just put it right next to them so they will like stay on the trap. And Blitzcrank just walk through the wall. I don't know what that was. That was weird.
That was a
and
really.
then also you got way too close, which allowed Ash to get like 5 auto attacks off on you and pretty much chunk you. So I would have like backed off earlier than that, and like if you're not gonna actually go for the kill.
Yasuo was CSing pretty well. I mean, okay, so the gank in top lane was actually really good by Warwick, and Rumble and Warwick both played that really well in terms of using their ultimates together. But yeah. I also feel like, I mean, that's always when I jungle at least, it's always a risk to me when I gank a losing lane, especially when the other laner is really strong. I mean, if someone's getting really out of hand, yes, you want to shut them down, but it's also really, mid lane is also a really easy gank for Warwick, and it looks like he at least wants top lane to keep snowballing. So.
And like what we were saying earlier, whenever the game was starting, is that like the winning factors for their team are like Yasuo and ganks. So you would want to gank one of those 2 lanes because like Renekton is gonna do Renekton's job no matter what. Like he's already a little bit ahead, so we can bully the lane. Like it's risky to gank him, and it doesn't really accomplish that much, even if you get a kill, because Rumble scales well, but it's a very different kind of scaling. But if you like gank bot lane, then bot might not be the easiest to gank right now because they both have ways to get out of like to stop Warwick's ult. But like mid is a very easy gank because Yasuo has been playing extremely aggressively, and Ahri has a charm. So like, if you set it up right.
Since there's like a really big elo discrepancy, I would definitely go mid over going top because like you don't want a lane to lose too hard, because then, especially when it's one of your main damage threats, and then you really don't want this Yasuo to get snowballing. And since it's such an easy gank, like Warwick presses R, Ahri presses E after the R expires, and Yasuo is dead. Like that's how that works. Also, when Yasuo went in on an Ahri, she really should just use all 3 charges of Spirit Rush to get away.
Yeah, that was a good Yasuo play.
And then that dragon fight was like good job Warwick, but Elise and Yasuo, you should have not kept attacking dragon because like y'all were the same levels, y'all had the same smite, so it was a 50-50, and you should have killed him and then went on dragon. Like Yasuo just kept attacking dragon while Warwick was ulting Elise, so that was pretty bad.
Yeah, so it would have been, whenever you're having dragon fights, you're fighting around dragon, you need to respect the fact that dragon does a shit ton of damage. Like in lane, you shouldn't ignore minions because minions do a lot of damage. At dragon, you shouldn't ignore dragon because dragon does even more damage. And it's kind of hard to think about when you're worried about your positioning for fights, but that's something you really need to be aware of. Like tanking dragon will actually cost you an entire fight, because dragon will pretty much solo one person. It was a little risky by Ahri, being in melee range of Renekton. Like, I understand she was trying to stick to him with Spirit Rush, but you really want to avoid getting hit like that.
And like, you want to make sure whenever you're Spirit Rushing, like to try to kill somebody, that you still damage them if you're going away, because like the second Spirit Rush didn't do any damage to Renekton because she Spirit Rushed too far away.
And the other problem with that when she was Spirit Rushing is that, as Ahri, if you Spirit Rush into a brush, if you don't have vision of them, the projectiles from your Spirit Rush won't actually hit the person because you have no vision. So they basically just become wasted chargers. It's like a champion-specific thing, but it's pretty important.
Alright, as far as item builds go, Renekton, usually what people do is they just keep with the team app for a little while instead of immediately upgrading it to Hydra. And then you would go Black Cleaver second, and then a lot of people have actually been going Titanic Hydra just because like Renekton's ult makes that do more damage because it scales off of health, and then like it makes him even tankier. But like Ravenous Hydra is still a good choice. I would just suggest staying with team app until after you get more gold.
I mean, if I were Warwick, at least being there made that not so good. But it was a good idea. They really did overextend and chase a little too far.
And then Ari, you should have saved your charm. Like, I know that you were thinking, oh no, Warwick's not going to get there, but you guys probably should have communicated and been like, okay,
Yeah.
Warwick to say, I'm going to flash ult, and then you make sure you hit that charm. Because
always-
if you had hit that charm, Yasuo wouldn't have been able to ult, and you would have gotten the kill, and probably a second. Oh, nice pull blitz.
Oh, like Blitz God.
Ooh,
Is that Mad Life?
damn.
But yeah,
But
like
Alicia
whenever
was a
it
very
comes
nice
to
turnaround.
whenever it comes to CC, you always want to use the point and click CC before you use the skill shot CC, because the point and click CC, if you're in range, is going to work 100% of the time. The skill shot CC may not necessarily work, and they were in a position where like that didn't have to happen. Like they probably would have killed Elise too. They would have absolutely killed Elise too if Elise had entered the fight and Yasuo had been able to ult.
Yep. I think it might have been a 2-for-1 because I think Elise probably would have still been able to kill Ari, but it would have been significantly better.
I mean, but also Ari would not have taken any damage at all if like she had waited for the Warwick ult.
That's true. Plus, like, you're against a Yasuo, and Yasuo could have just wind-walled that charm, but
Yep.
he can't wind-wall if Warwick ults.
Ari's dead. Oh, the flash. Never mind. I mean, Yasuo actually probably could have killed her anyway there. That's just me being me. What you're doing is Ari is
Ari, it's very risky to stay because Yasuo can
Yeah.
eat all the minions and then kill you.
then just leave because he still has flash. I mean, Warwick does have ult.
Like, I think, but the thing is, Yasuo scales very well, so going 1-for-1 is, I mean, it's kind of worth it just because you
Yeah.
have an assist, but I would still not go for that, especially since your team just scales better, and their team needs Yasuo or Ashe to get very far ahead, and Ashe is not really getting ahead right now.
I think in terms of actual gold. Oh, yep, that's the fear. That's the fear. Okay, Blitz and Jinx are actually doing a damn good job at coordinating their trap and pull.
I would not have gone back in there for him.
I think what he was trying to do is that he was trying to flare into turret range, but I still don't think it would have.
Yeah, but even then, you didn't know whether Jinx had sums. I mean, maybe you did if you timed them, but like you would have died, and it was not very likely that Jinx would die, except the Yasuo game. So that was a really good roam by Elise and Yasuo.
Is your client working? Can you see the gold?
Yeah, it is.
What's the difference between
Red side
Jinx
is
and
up.
Ashe?
Red side is up 4K.
No, I mean the gold for individual champions.
Oh yeah, it's Jinx is 200 gold ahead. It's 5,300 versus 5,100.
Alright. My client's just being a piece of shit then.
I'm gonna say something for Ari is like when you're in a tower like that and you're having to CS, it really isn't a bad thing to use your abilities to CS. Like
Yeah.
your charm does do damage, and if you can get a CS with it, do it.
One thing that
I really like the wards.
Go ahead.
I really like the wards that Renset has placed because they have a deep ward right by mid tower, and then they have a pink ward that nobody's seen yet. That like very deep. Against a Warwick, it's really good to like know where he is because his ganks are so potent. So if you see him on that, then like you know that he's not going to be topside.
Oh, also, when you guys are playing AP mids against an AD mid, please, 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 especially if you don't run armor runes, for the love of God, build Seeker's Arm Guard. That, like, I understand you want Merlin Amakan, I understand you want the CDR, you want the damage, you want to kill things, you want to do big deeps, but that Seeker's Arm Guard goes such a long way when it comes to dealing with AD champions. Like, every single ability Yasuo uses except for his E is AD. It's a source of AD. And well, static shiv, but he's not going to have that when you build Seekers. And that gives you such a big advantage in lane. Like, if you build, like, Doran's Ring Seeker's Arm Guard, he'll do so much less damage, it's incredible. Like, that applies to almost every matchup.
In that fight, Blitzcrank, you should not have pulled... Whenever Warwick ulted Yasuo, you should not have pulled him because that took him out of Jinx's range to auto-attack. and then like Warwick, I think Warwick still did the damage, but like Warwick couldn't follow up afterwards, and that gave them a lot more time to come. And then like, yeah, we just said that you should like make sure you use your CC whenever like there's hard CC on them already, but like you could have just walked up and eat him and then queued him after that, but not taken him out of Jinx's auto attack range.
Oh, nice snipe. Yeah, red team definitely overstayed there. Like, you don't have that much siege when it comes, especially when you're dealing with like Ari who has a lot of wave clear. Like, I mean, you could argue that Ari was getting a little too far up or away from her turret, but at the same time, like getting 1 kill at the potential of having 3 people die when you're that low isn't worth it at all. Like, the turret would be nice, but you can always just like go back, send Ashe and Elise mid, and have Yasuo split bot and farm opportunity. Or like, I mean, he's really strong right now, so the only people that can stop him is going to require 2 of them, except maybe Warwick. No, he'll kill Warwick too, so they need to send 2 people for him basically. So you would have them, that's the kind of advantage that they need to shove down the turrets. They also need a lot more vision control. So like, if you look at topside, Renekton extending that far is super, 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 super dangerous, especially when they have a Warwick on the enemy team. Like, he's not going to get away. So, I mean, and blue team actually only has 3 wards on the map. So, which is weird to me because they all have, or red team only, okay, I'm looking at the wrong color. Red team has 3 wards on the map. Now 4, but like they all have upgraded trinkets, so there should be a lot more than that.
I think that their vision just kind of expired recently.
Okay.
So like they haven't updated.